Uncut here with my friend Phil. Phil, what's our topic today? What are we going to cover?
We're talking about a very important topic that often gets shoved into the basement like naughty children and locked, in some companies. So those companies, I would call them Theory X minded companies that believe in the carrot and the stick principle, right, Roy?
Yeah.
So this principle is it's a very important one. It's often said, don't muzzle the ox that treads the corn. So you don't want to muzzle the ox. I mean, the poor people doing the work. So we talked about in our principle, well, the very first episode, we talked about the pigs and the chickens, and we don't want to use that terminology, but some companies treat their people like they're pigs, like they just tread in the corn, or like they're the ox that treads the corn. So principle 5, Roy, what do you think about this principle?
So principle number 5 is, to me, it is the most important organizational principle out of all of the manifesto. Now, I'm not saying it's the most important principle, just specifically organizationally, this carries a lot of weight. And I want to back up for 1 second too. And I really want to talk about the manifesto as a whole, in that, in my opinion, is that the Agile manifesto, you really should just take away the word Agile, because it's a doctrine for culture at an organization, regardless of what process you're following. This is not about Agile. When you read through the Agile manifesto, these are all things that just make sense. And this one especially makes a huge amount of sense. This is how you build an organization that is capable of doing Agile. And that's really what this one comes down to. This is one of my favorite principles. I think it's extremely important. And we tend to lose this one. We tend to forget about this one because we're structured certain ways, or we have managers that may not have been trained well, more Theory X kind of managers.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with Theory X, Theory Y, Theory X is where you believe people don't want to do their jobs. You need to tell them what to do. You need to drive them. So you have one person on top commanding, controlling, and shoving and cajoling and yelling and all that other kind of stuff to get people to do their jobs. Theory Y is the opposite, where you feel that people generally want to do their jobs. And if you give them the room to do it, they'll do it very well.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you set some framework and clarity, but that's the idea. Phil? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The Theory X, you hit the nail on the head. But there are two types of Theory X managers, even in Theory X. You've got the Theory X manager that believes Roy can't do his job. I need to babysit him. I need to be on top of him.
Yep.
And then you've got the Theory X manager that believes Roy can't really do his job. I'm going to have to bribe him or cajole him.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to kind of...
Carrots
so it's not
sticks.
Aggressive. It's subtle, but they've still got a bad mindset about Roy. And they're like, oh, Roy, if you do this and this, we can give you rewards. But the mindset is still warped. And that pervades a lot of companies. It's still Theory X, but it's a subtle Theory X. They are all bad. They're all bad and I like what you said in the beginning, Roy, about this not being Agile manifesto. Let's just call it company manifesto.
Yep.
Right? Because this is good stuff. Build companies around motivated individuals. I like a quote from Steve Jobs. He says, management is making people do what you want them to do or what you think they should do. But leadership is making people do what they never even imagined they could do. How could you blow your own mind? Except you're inspired and motivated, right?
Yep, absolutely. There's a great quote that I like to use too, to relate it to this principle. It's, I would never want to work for a company that values my output but not my input. It's like, why would you want to work for a company that's not there to listen to you and trust you and treat you as an adult? And I use that phrase, and Phil, we've taught together a number of times. You've heard me use that phrase all the time. We hire people that should be adults. Do your job, right? You get paid to do a job. You should like doing your job, but if you don't, we've got a problem. So let's do something about it. Right. So let's treat each other as adults.
Give them the environment. So what does that mean? Let's blow that up a little bit more, Roy. What do we mean by give them the environment they need?
Yeah. So you think about it. What does someone need in order to be able to do their job? First, they need to make sure that they've got enough money to do that job. They have to, at least have enough money where they're not constantly thinking about money. So take that money issue. That's a David Pink thing. If you ever read his book, Drive, awesome book. There's a little video on YouTube as well. Good stuff. Basically, the idea is you take money off the table, right? So that people aren't worrying about it so much, and you're paying them sufficiently so that they're not really overly concerned about money. That's a sensitive subject and a little bit hard to do, but you get the idea. Take it out of the way. Make sure that people have what they need so they can do their jobs, right? Equipment, training, and then on top of that, not just the environment, but the support. And that means they need someone that they can go to when they say, hey, I've got a problem. I need you to help me with it. And then you help them with it. That's the support mechanism. They know that they can go to you and they're not going to get yelled at because they didn't get something done. Instead, they can say, hey, I need your assistance, and you'll actually provide it to them. That's what we're looking for, right?
And trust them to get the job done. It boils down to the Theory X you mentioned in the beginning. The Theory X manager believes you cannot work without supervision. In fact, a description of Theory X is they are an impediment. Those type of managers, they're an impediment to the employees' morale. They're always beating them over the head. They don't trust them. And that's why they're always looming around in the background. Horrible way of bringing up any team or organization. But the sad thing is, a lot of companies are like this. So this is actually the first time I've really thought about it concretely when you mentioned it, Roy. This is not just an Agile manifesto. This is a manifesto for firms, period.
Yep, exactly. Imagine if you built your organization around this concept. Where people are trusted, people have their needs met, they have what they need to do their jobs, they have the support from their leadership, they can do the work and decide how to do that work on their own, they feel valued. You build an organization like that, and you have leaders to give them clarity in order to deliver the right stuff, you're going to be more successful. That's not Agile. That's not about Agile. That's just, we just say it in Agile. And so I often say something a little bit controversial when I'm teaching management leadership classes. And I say this intentionally because I want them to get annoyed. I want them to get mad, right? Because I want to trigger an emotional reaction with this. I say, if you have employees that you feel can't do their job without telling them what to do, it's your fault. Whether that person truly doesn't want to do their job, or you perceive that they don't want to do their job, it's management's fault. And the reason is that if you have people that don't want to do their jobs, who hired them? True. And what are you going to do about it as a manager? You either train them, or you help them you mentor them so that they do want to do their jobs, get them to that good place, or you need to do your job, and that is potentially, and this is going to be controversial, maybe replace people that aren't doing their jobs, right? So that's management's job. That's their whole purpose. Their whole reason for being is to make sure they've got the right people in the right places. So either way, whether people don't want to do their jobs or they perceive they don't want to do their jobs, that's management's responsibility. It's their fault that that's going on. Just my
absolutely.
opinion.
Yes, Roy. Let's jump on that one more time. So motivated individuals. So management has a job or a responsibility to create the environment to inspire people and to motivate them. And different things are motivators. We've got Maslow's pyramid that talks about physiological safety, love or belonging, esteem and self-actualization. But other than money, what are some of the ways we can motivate individuals? I like the quote you shared in the beginning about getting people's input, not just their output. So that could motivate, right?
Yeah. So there's obviously lots of good work out there to talk about motivators and things like that. One of my favorites is the work that Daniel Pink documented and put in his book, Drive: The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us. Really good book, good video, very entertaining speaker. He talks about a few different things. And one of them, to me, I think is extremely important, especially in the Agile world, is to be able to direct yourself. Right? To be empowered to make decisions for yourselves and say, yeah, I want to do this. People like to be able to say, I can make up my own mind. I can decide what I want to do. And if you're in a knowledge space, where you need some creativity and innovation, that's critical. You need people to be empowered to make decisions on their own. Otherwise, they're just taking orders and you're not going to get any innovation or creativity. So you need to give them the ability to just direct themselves. Right. And I think that's really important. I think another thing that helps with motivation is giving people the opportunity to learn. And I'll share a really good quote from I forget who it was. It might have been Steve Jobs who said this one as well. I forget. It's we often don't give people the opportunity to learn because we've got tight deadlines or push, got to get work done. Well, if you don't give yourself the opportunity to learn, you're never going to get better. You're going to get bored with your job. You're going to go stale. Not good for your career. Not good for a whole bunch of things. And I forget who it was who gave this quote, but somebody, a very senior person, a CEO, was talking about training his people, and someone said, "Well, what if we train these people and then they leave?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Well, think about it this way: wouldn't it be worse if we didn't train them and they stayed?"
Yes, I heard that one.
It's a great quote, and it's true. You want people to be educated, and you want them to improve their skills. And yeah, maybe they will leave, but maybe you can give them an environment where they want to stay because the opportunity for training is so much greater, right? Just a thought.
I think one of the quotes that you mentioned is from someone called Levi Lusko. I've never heard of him, but I think that quote is attributed to him. But I've heard that quote a few times, and
it's a good one.
It's true.
Yeah.
A lot of companies, they're so tight-fisted, aren't they, when it comes to sending people for training, spending money, investing in their development and in offsites. I went to a company and I asked them, what has your company done for you recently in terms of building you in your career or synergies of the team? And the answer was, Phil, what are you talking about? We're here to work.
Oh,
we don't need motivation and all that soft stuff.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to work at a place that acts like that, right? It's just not good. And we also need to recognize that there are also light ways of learning. There are abstract ways. It doesn't necessarily have to be a class, right? Or formal education. It could just be maybe taking a little bit of time as part of your daily job and spend a little bit of time in pairing with someone else, right?
Exactly.
Getting mentored by someone that has more experience in an area than you might have. So that's very lightweight, somewhat painless ways of getting additional education without going to formal training and things like that. So these are all things that organizations really should build in so that we are not only hiring motivated people, but giving them a place where they can stay motivated, because that's you have to give them both, right? You have to be able to give them that environment.
That's true. That environment. Well, I hope this has helped you and you've benefited from our expansion of Principle 5. Really profound principle. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you next time.
And before we jump off, I wanted to make it very clear that there is an initiative to support the laid-off federal workers. Those of you who might have worked in government for a very long time and unfortunately been affected by these crazy layoffs, next week we are going to be working with you to redefine your career. Those of you who are keen on emphasizing the project management aspects that you might have worked on, those of you who might realize, just like I did 17 years ago, my friends, I realized I needed to pivot. I needed to move from being stuck to being unstuck. And how did I do this? I redefined my career. I went from being a project manager dependent on the company that I was looking to hire me to being a consultant, a contractor, and a full-time coach. And you can do something similar. You may not end up being a coach or trainer in project management, but maybe you end up being a coach or a project manager in something else, maybe in your specialism, maybe the area that you worked in government. You see, losing a federal job is more than just a career shift. I want you to look at it as a moment of reflection, a moment of resilience and reinvention. You see, many federal workers spend years, even decades, contributing to complex projects, complex programs. Hold on to that word program. I'm going to be breaking that down for next week. But a program is a collection of multiple interrelated projects, and there's a lot of repetition in programs. But you folks have worked on projects. You've been leading initiatives, ensuring that public programs run smoothly. Yet, when faced with a layoff, even such awesome folks struggle sometimes to articulate the value of their experience in a way that resonates with employees in the private sector, a way that resonates with contractors or new industry. So the course, Fed PM Succeed, is designed to bridge the gap. Whether you were a policy analyst in government, IT specialist, procurement officer, some sort of administrator, you've managed projects and you've handled these temporary endeavors that require planning, execution, coordination, stakeholder management, risk mitigation. You see, the exact skills, my friends, that define a project manager. Wow. Talk about sitting on a gold mine. Many of you who worked in government, you're sitting on a gold mine and you're not realizing that this experience you've got is translatable into project management. So next week, 10th of February, we're going in, my friends. The challenge is not whether you have project management experience. It's how to frame it. It's how to refine it. And it's how to communicate it effectively. So, in this course that I have put together, I've been working on this course for you. It's free. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Take it. Take the gift horse. I'm going to be guiding you through understanding the core principles of project management and how they align with your federal experience, breaking down your past roles into project-based contributions that hiring managers recognize. I'm also going to be working with you, showing you, giving you ideas, insights, tricks of the trade to rewriting your resume to highlight project leadership, problem solving. We're also going to work on mastering the overarching concepts of Agile in the Agile Manifesto, Scrum in the Scrum Guide, and Kanban that will help expand your job prospects beyond traditional. Hey, this is my favorite. If you attend all 5 days, you are also going to receive a certificate of completion that shows you have attended a solid project management training program that was put together by an organization with a trainer that has been responsible for training government and private organizations worldwide. Take a look at the screen because the credentials speak for themselves, my friend. You are working with a firm that has organized and delivered training for NASA and the FBI and the US Army and the Army Corps and the US Air Force and the Department of Transport and the Department of Commerce. I could go on and on. So the point is you are going to get value from this. Someone might ask, but what is the catch? There ain't no catch. The catch, I've already caught it. The catch is that the government, the US government, all the entities you see on the screen have blessed me immensely just by the power of affiliation. Being affiliated with these organizations has opened tremendous opportunities to me. So I am paying it back, my friends. This is free for a purpose. It's to give back to where I have received. Okay? So don't be deceived thinking, well, it's free. I guess it can't be that good. You are going to be shocked, amazed, out of your pants, my friends. Come for the session, learn what I have to deliver, get the certificate of completion of 10 hours by attending all 5 days, and let's see you blow up your career to the next level. Okay? Lastly, I'm going to be teaching you how to build motivational and daily rituals, things to keep momentum in your job search. You're speaking to someone who has been without work twice for almost a year. I know the frustrations you're facing. I know the mental challenges. I've been there. I know what depression looks like when you're pounding the pavement and you're not getting anywhere. So this program is more than just a training. It's a roadmap for career transformation. Okay? I've canceled things on my calendar to be able to bring this to you. It's very important to me that you succeed and you soar above the craziness that's happening right now. Okay? This is going to give you tools, confidence, and direction to turn this career transition into an opportunity for growth and reinvention. So, who is the program for again? This course is designed for laid off federal employees who have worked in federal roles and want to transition to project management, those who need to revamp their resume and redefine their career direction, those who are keen on knowing, this PMP stuff, maybe it's an opportunity for me to learn what is PMP about, what is a syllabus, right? It's for those who are interested in project-based private sector or government contractor roles, and I can share all my secrets with you. I've worked everywhere from Honeywell to Motorola, American, General Dynamics, you name it, private companies, gaming companies. So I'm going to show you. You're going to be able to ask questions and get answers in project management, right? So if you're looking for daily motivation, a structured job search approach, you're going to gain all that and more. You're going to learn how to speak the language of project management. You're going to have a resume that positions you as a project leader. And you're going to understand how to use Agile and Scrum frameworks to boost your career opportunities. You're going to learn how to speak the language. You're going to learn how to take what you've done in the past and make sense of it in a project management lens. So we're going to be building a job search system for you. I'm going to show you how to do that. Something that keeps you motivated and connected. This is your moment to take control, my friends. Your experience is valuable and your skills are in demand. And your next opportunity, I tell you, it's in reach. So be encouraged, my friends. Here on the screen one more time, I'm going to share that this is at fed.pmsucceed.com. It's March 10th to 14th. All I need from you is 2 hours. Show up for your success. And I would love for you to share this with other people who might be in need of it. And I will see you on the 10th to the 14th. Thank you for joining me. And for those of you who are just coming, there was a section before this with my buddy Roy on Agile Principle 5. You can go back and re-listen. All right. Thank you very much. I wish you all the very best. I'll see you next week.